God bless you and welcome back to Heart Ministry Network and the Extraordinary People broadcast. I am your host, Brenda Divers, and today I have with me the extraordinary, the amazing Nancy Golden. And before you guys, I know you see a resemblance because this is my sister. She is my biological sister. Nancy Golden, and Nancy is an extraordinary woman of God. So, welcome, Nancy, and say good afternoon to our viewers.
Good afternoon, everyone. And Brenda, thank you for having me on your wonderful show. So happy to be here.
Oh, thank you. We have tried to do this for some time, but our schedules would not allow, but thank God in his timing. He allowed this to happen. And before we go into the meat of the interview, Nancy, can you tell us a little bit about who you are? Nancy, the woman. Tell us about you.
Well, Nancy, the woman is now, let me see, I have evolved into so many things. I am retired. Hallelujah. So I'm a retired woman. Okay, I retired from the school district of Philadelphia in 2013, and I have been, I guess, enjoying the second phase of my life. I'm married to a wonderful man, Jose Golden, and I have 3 adult children that are fabulous. I love them all, accomplished, doing very well.
Yes.
And I have so many grandchildren. My word. I have 8 biological grandchildren, and then I have 3 more that are, addition to that, and another 3 in addition to that. So I might have about 17 when you finish counting. And I love them all. Yes, I do.
Yes.
So Nancy, the woman, is still trying to figure out how to make it and how to make other dreams come true. Because you never stop dreaming, and there is no deadline on your dreams. You keep going after them no matter what. And that's what I'm doing.
Amen. Put a period, exclamation, and what's it? The ellipsis, ... to be continued. Because I tell you, Nancy has always been the creative one. And you were always my speechwriter. If I needed something creative, I'm like, Nanny, I need something, and she would whip it right up. She's always been creative. And today we're going to talk about her newest creation, which is a book entitled Gooleefoofus.
The sound effects on your radio station, the hand clapping.
We'll make it clap for you. we'll send the confetti down for you because this is epic. It's epic. This is your 5th. Is this your 5th book or your 4th? Your 5th.
This is my 4th book.
4th book. And and they can also 3 of them can be purchased on Amazon. Nancy's going to tell her how this particular book can be purchased at the end of the broadcast. But Nancy, first tell us about the name Gooleefoofus. Where did it come from? It's a story, and I know it very well because we grew up together. But, to see it come to life, and it has come to life. Tell us about Gooleefoofus and how that started in you.
Well, can I show a picture of Gooleefoofus so they can?
Yes, you can. And it'll be,
This is Gooleefoofus. He's a funny looking character, but he's delightful looking, isn't he?
He is.
But that's the title, Gooleefoofus. So those phonetic people, you can sound it right out. It's phonetically sound, okay? But Brenda knows that when we grew up in the church in Philadelphia, Calvary Gospel Chapel, West Philadelphia, 4221 Westerite Avenue.
Still know the address.
I think that's right? We got our foundation, biblical foundation, because it was a Bible teaching, Bible preaching church. It didn't have all the fluff, right? But it had the foundational information that we need to grow in the Lord.
Yes.
We grew in the Lord, learning scripture at a young age, right? We learned fellowship. We learned how we had fun, didn't we, at that church?
We did. We had a great time.
The youth, some of the wonderful trips that we went to Canada, right? Upstate New York. We had summer camp, just a lot of fun. But anyway, there was a brother there because they were all called brothers and elders.
Mm-hmm. Elders.
And in charge of the youth and everything else. Brother Joe, God rest his soul. He would tell these wonderful stories, and he was like an oral storyteller. So he would tell us this story. And I remember, and Brenda remembers the story of Gooleefoofus. Now, I don't remember all the stories of Gooleefoofus, but I just remember the name. It was a funny name, right?
Yes.
What could you relate Gooleefoofus to? And so when he would tell stories of Gooleefoofus, he would have us engaged because he was a wonderful storyteller, and the name stuck with me. So one day, Brenda, I decided to write my 4th book based on the name Gooleefoofus, not necessarily the characteristics of this character from the stories that he told, but the title, right? And so I decided to give this name, this character, build and then make it a rounded character. Give him a name, attributes, characteristics that young children, early learners could relate to. And this Gooleefoofus does everything well. I mean, he does everything well. He reads books. He has fun. He's fun-loving. He's really smart, a good student in school, and he's kind. So these are the kind of things that when young people, like 2 to 6, read about him, you can mommy can say, what would Gooleefoofus do? Well, Gooleefoofus would read a book before he goes outside and play. Gooleefoofus would say, please and thank you if he wanted something, right? Gooleefoofus wouldn't tease his friends. He'd be kind to his friends. Gooleefoofus would climb trees and swing on tree branches and just have a lot of fun. So this is a good book, I think, that will just help children understand what it means to have good character and be a good friend. So the story is based off of this name, but Gooleefoofus is wonderful. And the illustrations are really beautiful. The colors are wonderful. And you know, Brent, I do a lot of my stories for young people, little people. I shouldn't say little people. I don't think that's politically correct anymore, but for early learners.
Okay.
In rhyme. So when you have a story in rhyme, it has a rhythm and it has a beat. So this definitely has a rhythm and it has a beat. And so when you read the story out aloud to a child, there's a part where they can always call out his name. Look at Gooleefoofus.
He's so cute.
Standing tall. My little friend named Gooleefoofus. Look, there he is. And this is what he does. He can run quite fast and he doesn't ever fall. Boy, he's good. And I got that because, Brenda, what do we all do? We have 5 girls in our family and all of us ran track and field.
Track and field.
We were very good at it. We were very good at it because my father ran track and I think we just, we're gifted track stars, but we just never pursued it. That's another thing. Should have pursued it. But anywho, there's a part when they say Gooleefoofus, Gooleefoofus, Gooleefoofus. So the person who's reading the story aloud to the child, there's a part when the child can engage and participate in the story. Because, a lot of times when you read stories to children, they're sort of passive because all they have to do is sit and listen.
Right.
But you want to engage. So this book helps them to get engaged because they have to pay attention because there's a part in the story when they have to say, Gooleefoofus, Gooleefoofus, Gooleefoofus. And can I tell you, it's a good book. I love creating it. The illustrator and graphic artist did a wonderful job. So I'm really proud of it, Brenda. Thank you.
You should be. You should be. It's a beautiful book. And your illustrator is Derek Chambers.
No, Derek Jolly is the graphic designer.
Derek Jolly.
Akeem Brown is my illustrator.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And again, it's beautifully written. The colors draw you in.
And not to cut you off, what I think I try to do is, because education is something I'll always do until the Lord calls me home. Mm-hmm. It's just in my blood. So even though I retired, I never retired from helping parents and teachers understand how this process really works, right? So even with this book, I did some videos just helping parents teach their children Dolch words, like easy sight words, the, me, you, it, and that. You can teach that really early. So I give a lot of strategies on what you can do at home before your child even goes to kindergarten, when they're 2 and when they're 3 and when they're 4, just how we can enhance these skills before they can kindergarten. At 2 years old, there are things that you can just do. And I use a lot of my videos to share those ideas with parents. What does it mean to be a friend? Those are things that you can talk about with your child, even using this book. How do you identify the and is and at and me? 2 years old, they can identify those kinds of words because guess what? The will be the if they're 2, and the is the when they're
22.
So, right? You understand?
Yes.
So it's not only just a book to read aloud to your child, but you can take certain concepts from the book and teach certain things to your children of value that they will always remember and build their skills and prepare them for kindergarten. Just wanted to add a little tidbit.
And I love that. And one of the things I heard you talk about, I think early on, is behavior modification and how you can use Gooleefoofus. Explain that, how they could use that for behavior modification.
Well, sometimes with children, especially early learners, they learn by example. They learn by, using illustrations, right? They learn by showing cartoons. They learn by reading books and telling stories because they have vivid imaginations. So you can use a character, a non-fictional character like Gooleefoofus, right? And he's animated, but you can use this character to teach certain behaviors. So let's say if you're acting out, and you've read the story about Gooleefoofus, like I said before, you can say, well, would Gooleefoofus talk back to the teacher? No, because in the story, Gooleefoofus listens. Gooleefoofus knows how to sit in his seat and quiet. Gooleefoofus knows how to follow directions. Do you think you'd like to do maybe demonstrate some of the behaviors that Gooleefoofus displays in class? Well, of course they would. You remember that little ribbon we used to wear around our wrist? What would you do?
Right. What would Gooleefoofus do?
What would Gooleefoofus? And so when you talk about behavior, you're just trying to modify the behavior so that it's a more positive one. And so you're not always trying to scold the child and make them feel bad, but you're using positive techniques, right, to sort of extinguish certain behaviors before they even get started. Right? So if you notice that you have a child who's maybe intentional in not listening, because I always tell parents, let me tell you something. Let's be real clear. Children do not have to learn how to be mean. We come out of the womb being disobedient. Am I right, Brenda?
You're right about it.
Our brother Adam and our sister Eve. It has trickled down from generation to generation. Okay, so we have inherited these things. So they come out of the womb. You don't have to teach them how to say no. You really don't. They learn, right?
How to steal.
Teach them how to be selfish, how to steal, how to talk back, how to.
Right.
Those are negative characteristics that they already they know, but you do have to teach them how to say thank you.
Yes.
And how to say excuse me, and how to say please, and how to sit, and how not to talk back. And so when you talk about behavior modification, you're thinking of ways to modify these behaviors so that you can either reduce them early or extinguish them early, so that when they go on to formal school, there won't be a problem. Because if you allow these things to continue to happen, you know what's going to happen. Because like I did a video and I had 2 branches, and I had a branch that I could easily break. In my yard, I had 2 branches, one that I could easily break, and one that it was so thick I couldn't bend it, and I'm pretty strong. So babies are just like that. Children are just like, when we talk about behavior mind, you're training them up early, because the Bible says train up a child. And most times you think about discipline. No, it's for everything in their lives. Everything. Train them up to say please and thank you and no ma'am, yes ma'am, yes sir, no sir. Sit down when someone, when an adult is speaking to you, have a seat and not talk back, and be respectful. If you have a problem, then there's a way that we can talk. You know what I'm saying? So when you teach these things early, you can bend that branch, right? When they're 2, when they're 3, when they're 4. But if you try to start bending that branch when they're 6, it's just like that stick I had, Brenda. You can't. It's so hard. And so that's why, when parents think it's cute, when babies are doing these little things, sometimes it is cute. But when they start getting older, you have to nip it in the bud. I don't know that verse in the Bible. I have to find in Proverbs. It says, a parent that doesn't discipline their child doesn't love them. That's what God says.
Yes.
A parent that does discipline. I'm not, I'm just saying it.
That's what it is.
Correct.
Hates the child. It's hate.
I'll find it, but it says a parent doesn't discipline their child. Listen to that. Doesn't love their child. And a lot of times as parents, we have these guilt trips, well, I was brought up a certain way and I'm not gonna make sure my child. Okay. There's a limit to everything. And
absolutely.
So we have to make sure that we are demonstrating the behaviors that the child should display, that we are redirecting as much as possible so that they can grow up and be productive citizens.
Absolutely.
Positive. Not going to jail, not, you know what I mean? Talking back. Because once they start talking back to you, they're going to talk back to the teacher. Trust me when I. And when they start talking back and they doing all, I said they do it at home. Then they want to argue the point. They're doing it to you, Mom. Before they do it to me, they're doing it to you. That's right. Another show for another day. Call me back for that
one. Well, you can tell that Nancy is a teacher through and through. I was laughing, Nancy, because I remember as children, you were teaching us certain concepts, and you would write on the mirror. You would write on the mirror. Yeah.
And don't tell when y'all wouldn't. I would have to beg y'all to play.
Come on, play so I can teach.
Like, get out of here, girl. And then I would start talking to myself. Remember?
Yes. So if she didn't have us as an audience, she would talk to herself. So who you are comes up very early. So I think watch your children from very early ages, because who they are, who got placed or what got placed in them will come out very, very early. So it's our opportunity to enhance that and put them in classes and, just places where those gifts can be tuned and honed in. Yeah. Because again, Nancy was a teacher at a very, very early age.
and let me tell, I used to beg them. I said, yo, come on, please. They'd be like, Nancy, get out of here. We're going inside the
time to be teaching.
And write on my mother's mirrors with crayon. The earth is like a peach. The mantle, the core, and the crust.
But I remember those lessons from very young. So, it's funny, but it's true, right? So look at your children, learn the personality, learn the gifting, because it comes out very early. Very early. Yeah. So that is so good. That is so good. So Nancy, tell us how we can get Gooleefoofus. Tell us how to get that book.
Well, Brenda, since it's not on Amazon, but I do have like this QR code. I guess they can find me on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok. You'll see this little flyer that I have.
Okay.
Scan the QR code, it goes right to the PayPal, and I'll send you the book right out.
Okay.
So I have, like I said, they can find me Nancy Golden 57 on Instagram, Nancy Golden Little Connie's on Facebook, I'm Nancy Golden on TikTok, and I have all of my stuff all over the place.
Okay, so Nancy Golden, you can find her through all the social network platforms. Scan the code, and and that includes the shipping and handling.
Yes.
The $25, which is very reasonable for the size of the book, for, the content of the book. It's just a very reasonable cost for this book. So we encourage everybody. You may not have little ones, but little ones, right?
Right.
And it's not too early to start, getting your Christmas list together. And, that's a wonderful gift for a child. Yeah. So go out and get your Gooleefoofus. You know
what, Brenda, too? I was talking to another friend, and I was saying, it's important for us to help our early learners establish their own home libraries.
Very good.
Because parents are now, I notice a lot online, you're finding parents wanting to buy books, especially books by African-American authors. Children can relate to people that look like them.
Yeah.
So parents are going out and buying books, and it's good to build these libraries because they need to see you reading and they need to model that, because even though technology, it's part of who we are.
Yes.
Right?
It's not going away.
I say to parents, right, you still need to have a book in hand. Kids need to feel a book, touch a book, open a book, turn the pages of a book, because you don't have to charge a book. If the electricity goes out, you don't have to worry about batteries, right? A book is something that you can always carry around with you.
Yeah.
It never goes out of style. It'll be your book that you own. You know what I mean? So unlike technology, and technology is always revived every time.
Yeah. Something new.
Right. Books like Mary Had a Little Lamb and all of those nursery rhymes, they're classics. They've been around for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
So we want our kids to learn to appreciate books. Someone said, well, eventually books will be obsolete, but I don't think so. I think books will always be with us. And children need to understand that. And like I said, touch them. Because my 2-year-old knows how to call me on Messenger. She looks at my picture. I'm 2-year-old granddaughter. But I also want her, and she also knows how to hold up a book.
Yeah.
She does her, her little nonsense talking, because she doesn't know what she's reading, but she also knows how to turn the pages, correctly, Yeah. And she knows the feel of a book. And so you want kids to feel it, touch it, look at the illustrations, create their own storyline, even before you start the story. What is it about? Let them create a story about Gooleefoofus.
Yeah.
Let them also, like I said, I think a lot of times our kids are passive learners because everything's done for them.
Yeah.
And a passive learner doesn't learn as much as a child who is engaged.
Yeah. I agree.
Engaged child learns because they're taking responsibility. So you want them to start taking responsibility early. And how do you do that? By establishing these libraries in their homes. So
That's great.
When they're running all around, you shut down everything and say, look, it's time for us to read. And you read too, Mom and Dad, so that you can model for them the importance of literacy. It's very, very important.
I love that. The importance of literacy. Establish that very young in your children, the importance. And I love that, because a lot of children are tactile learners. They need to feel, right?
That's right.
They need to feel things. So that's the kind of learner I am. So yeah, that's so good. That's so good. So this is our time. Boy, that went by so quickly. But we're just encouraging all the parents, even the aunties and uncle, get Gooleefoofus for somebody put that as a part of your library. And, it's going to be fun to hear the stories because they reach out to you once they get it and, how fun it was. And, like you said, when the lights go out, you still have a book that you can read and you can, be entertained and engaged by. So this has been so good. And one of the things, Nanny, before we go, there are authors out there who are, you hear it all the time. I have this book, I've been trying to write it and I have writer's block. I don't know what to do. Is there a word of encouragement for the authors who are trying to do like you're doing, to, put out these books? Is there a word of encouragement for them?
I would say, Brenda, just go for it. If that's something that you really, truly want to do, I would say just start writing. I had a friend contact me, actually, not necessarily for children's book, but just for a biography I think she wanted to write. And I said, just start, get a pencil and paper or however you do. I still write. I'm old fashioned.
Write it out.
Paper. Some people are very good on the computer and type real fast. Whatever it is, whatever your mode is, typing it, pencil and paper, whatever, and just start writing. Don't worry about grammatical errors, sentence structure, syntax, any of that. Just write. Write your thoughts down every single day. And then once you have all of that together, then you can form what it is you're trying to say, because it's like you have to tell a story. For me, writing comes very easy because, as you know, it's like I create.
You're gifted in that way.
You have to figure out, where does it come from first? Does it come from your heart, from your head? So for me, a story always starts in my head. Always, for some reason, especially when I'm writing for children, always in rhyme. I have few things I've written for children that are not rhyming for some reason. They come very quickly. I can just start, and I always keep a pad and pencil by my bed because a line will come to me and I'll wake up in the middle. No lie, I'll wake up in the middle of the night and write that line down. Forget.
That's right.
For people who want to write, the thing I would suggest is to just start. To just start formulating your storyline. What is it about? What goal are you trying to accomplish? Who are the characters, right? what is going to be the conflict? Because like I always tell people, you have to start a story and it has to build and build and build until there's a conflict, and then the conflict resolves itself, and then, right, a resolution. So you know that the story has to start off nice or whatever, giving us background information and beautiful music. Just think of it as building to some type of conflict between a protagonist. And that's another thing. Learn what these English terms are.
Okay.
Antagonist, protagonist, character, setting, right? You have to know what these do. Educate yourself on what it is that you're writing about. Because a lot of times people will start writing and then you're missing some main points in writing simple stories. Educate yourself first. So go Google. Google will tell you, well, what are the elements of a story? Right? How is a story in sequence? Do you do the beginning, middle, and end? Does the story always start from the beginning, or can you start your story from the end and go in reverse? You know, there's so many things that you can do, but there are basic things that everyone should know. The story has to have some type of character, right? It doesn't have to be a person. No, you look at TV, there are all kind of animated characters. There's stories made about trees that talk, horses that talk. You know, so what do you want your story to be about? But it's up to you to figure out all of these things before you even start, I think, putting the story together. Start formulating in your mind how it's going to go. You actually can play it all out in your head. And then once you get like I would say, it's like building a house. You know, you have the framework. Then once you have the framework in mind, you can start putting in the windows, the doors, right? The carpet, lighting, electricity, but you have to get the framework. And the framework is, or has already been established. You go to Google and find out the elements of a story. And I'm going to tell you a quick story, Brenda. People don't think that, you know, some people think they can just do whatever they want to do. This structure in literature has been established since the beginning of time, right? I remember this, and this is just to help people. You can be very gifted and talented. I think I'm very gifted and talented, right? And I remember when I wanted to go to Villanova University, I told this story to you guys before. So I am just a born actress. Everybody knows, acting is in my veins. You give me a story and I can act it out for you.
Right.
So I went to go to Villanova and get a master's degree in theater. So before you're accepted and this is back in the day, you had to meet with the department chair. So I would go in with my positive thinking self, and I sit down in front of the dean of theater. I think his name was Dr. Christie. And he has glasses. And he says, so, Nancy, tell me why we should accept you into our program. I said, well, I told him all the plays I've been in. And I said, acting is just innate. It's just something I can do just naturally. I don't have difficult time. It's a gift that I have. And I'm just going on and on about me and all these things. And he says to me, okay. He says, while you were in school, now mind you, my undergrad degree is in special education. So he says, okay, have you ever taken Shakespeare 1, 2, and 3? I said, no, I took, no. He says, okay, have you taken History of the Stage? Have you taken early American literature? And he's naming all of these history courses. And I'm thinking, so what does that have to do with theater? They all have to do with theater and understanding how the process works. So he takes his glasses and on his nose. He says, well, Miss Nancy, with your innate abilities, I suggest that you take these prerequisite courses before you come and become a member of our program, because you don't have the foundation knowledge. You understand?
Wow.
All my talent. And so I guess I'm saying to those who want to write.
That's good.
Write on. But get the foundation knowledge, you know, because you can, and somebody might argue and say, well, you don't need all that, just write. And yes, there are platforms that will take your writing with all your spelling errors and with all of your grammatical errors and with all your sentences that don't make sense and all of that. Oh, yes. And don't
to publish it.
Probably bestsellers, probably. But what I'm saying to you is always build your knowledge base. Always. And some people don't want to build the knowledge, they just want to go straight, then go on. But I'm telling you, if you want to be a good writer and you want to be taken seriously, then build your knowledge base. That's all I have to say. Because someone said to me, and I'm not trying to be smart, they said, Nancy, for you to be a self-published author, many of your books don't look like self-published books. And I didn't know what that meant. Because they're self-published. She said to me, well, a lot of the books that I buy that are self-published have mistakes in them. All kinds of mistakes. And that's, again, building that knowledge base. You got to get somebody to edit your stuff. You know, you could be a good writer, but then you might need an editor to go through your book to make, you know, those changes for you. So that's all I'm saying. Build your knowledge base. In Google, everything's online, Brenda.
Right.
Tell you how to write a book, what you need, the elements of a story, and just put all that together.
That's good. Do your homework. There is some work to be done in addition to your innate talent and gifts.
Right.
There's
and
some.
I'm not saying you have to go to Harvard or anything.
Just
so you'll know what you're talking about.
That's
right?
good. That's good. And like you said, you don't have to leave your home to do it. If you have Google, right? And a lot of these AI programs will help you as well. So that's good. That's good. So, you know, take it from someone who has, you know, have gone down the path, you know, so you don't have to make those errors. I think that's really good. You know, you learn from someone who has, you know, has been in it for some time, has been successful. And, you know, Nancy's a teacher. She came out a teacher, you know, but she's done the work, right, to put out a quality project, you know, that she can be proud of. And it will stand, right? It's a part of your legacy. So do the work, do the framework, right? Do the framework, and then the rest will follow. So that's really good advice. So thank you, Nancy, for that.
Thanks.
So again, how do we reach you again?
Nancy 57, Facebook, Instagram.
Yes, but they can put in Nancy Golden and she will come up on all the social media platforms. But get Gooleefoofus, you know, for your children, for, you know, your nieces, nephews, anybody that is an early learner will certainly benefit from this beautiful, beautiful book. So thank you, Nancy. Thank you for spending time. Oh, absolutely. So join us often here on heartministrynetwork.com, heartministryradio.com, and Heart Ministry Network on Roku. You can find us there, and you will find this beautiful interview with my sister, my friend. And I think that's a beautiful thing. Nancy Golden, again, and Gooleefoofus is the book of the year for your young learners. Yes. a bestseller. Yes, we say that. We speak that. Amen. Amen. So God bless you. Thank you for joining us. Talk to you soon.
Thank you, Brenda. Bye-bye.
Bye now.